Three Bahamian men are in police custody in the U.S. after being extradited today.
The family of the teen student struck on a bus and killed last week continue to mourn the death of their daughter. We'll bring you all the details coming up in the Bahamas Tonight.
Tourism officials are here in Atlanta. The first stop was the Intercontinental Hotel. Find out why they're here.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keisha Latterly. Thanks for joining us tonight. Topping the news, the man at the center of the controversy yesterday in the House of Assembly has broken his silence as he seeks to set the record straight.
International fashion designer Peter Nygard says he believes there is an intense and growing plot with serious political motives behind the recent scathing allegations. In an exclusive interview over the phone with our Clint Watson, Nygard says when the truth comes to light, the public will be surprised at those players behind the scene. Clint Watson joins us in studio.
Good evening to you, Altaviz and Keishla. International fashion designer mogul Peter Nygard says this entire ordeal, in his view, is a fabricated plot by apparent enemies and special interest groups with a specific agenda.
To get this prime minister and this party out of power and try to create falsified evidence as if it has something to do with being corrupt, and try to make me look bad because I've been a supporter of the government and the prime minister, and trying to make me look bad.
As to those alleged infamous recordings of an alleged criminal activity plot referred to in reported court documents, Nygard says those tapings, in his view, were to achieve a specific goal.
The tapes were very clear. I absolutely, and not even knowing I was being taped, I absolutely declared that I don't want anything to do with breaking the law. I have never broken the law, and was adamant about that over and over again. So there's nothing whatsoever in those tapes that would show anything to do with me having broken the law or having anything to do with these people breaking the law.
Have also been levied that Nygard was promised Crown land. It's a question he answered during our interview without hesitation by saying an application was put into the government for him to build on Crown land, and in his view it went through the usual vetting process. He did not indicate that there was any special treatment or favors given as a result.
And a letter was given many years ago to say that yes, we can, and a lease will be forthcoming. And that lease was finally being honored.
But he claims there were protests to the land and that further delayed the process from being approved. This despite apparently centers around disagreements between Nygard and his neighbor Louis Bacon, who has taken issue to Nygard rebuilding on the land. Now, in recordings that went viral and published by a local daily last week, Nygard was quoted as using an expletive as he opined that Prime Minister Christie lacked courage. It was an issue we also put to the fashion designer.
I don't know if it's disrespect for the prime minister. He's made promises that he hasn't been able to deliver, and that promise was done long a time ago to enable me to go ahead and build my house that was burned down. And restore that. And I made an application to do that already 5 years ago, and the Prime Minister undertook to finally get to that point, and to get the thing resolved. Part of the resolution for that was to be able to give official approval for the land, which and lease for the land, which was an important part to be able to build on such land. And it's taken now 3 years to do that, and I think being a little impatient about that is quite in order.
As to his financial support for political parties in the past, he admits he has financially supported both sides.
I've been supporting various people now for the 30 years that I've been there in Bahamas. Some of them have been F&M people, and some of them have been PLP people. Quite frankly, I've never really been political, and I'm still not political. I've been people-oriented. So those people who need my support, I feel as a good corporate citizen that I should be supporting those people that I think are worthy of going into office.
Yesterday, Prime Minister Christie and opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis supported a police investigation into the matter, while both publicly distancing themselves from any impropriety.
The Prime Minister should also explain to the Bahamian people what official steps are being taken by all law enforcement agencies to fully and properly investigate the very serious allegations.
But under no circumstances, Mr. Speaker, will you ever find that I would have done favor for consideration.
Now, ZNS News also understands that court documents have also levied other serious allegations. It's a story we'll continue to follow in Keishla Altavis. This story is far from over. Live proceedings of the House of Assembly are going on right now, and the issue is yet again surfaced as the mid-year budget communications continue in the House of Assembly. You can join to ZNS News in the morning. We'll have a full recap of what took place this evening. Live in the newsroom, I'm Clint Watson. Back to you.
Thanks, Clint. 3 persons were today extradited on major drug trafficking charges, and we understand today's extradition was apparently a continuation of a case that's far back as 2004.
Today, the last members of that group were officially sent to answer charges in the United States. Our Carla Palmer is following the story.
At exactly 11:42 Tuesday morning, the 3 men who were being extradited to the United States on major drug trafficking charges arrived at the Odyssey Airport under heavy police escort. The convoy of unmarked vehicles went directly into a hangar where the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ellison Greenslade, was reportedly waiting along with American drug enforcement agents. It was there undercover that the men were officially handed over to the American drug agents by Commissioner Greenslade. The men are identified as Trevor Thomas Roberts, Devroy Moss, and Shanto Curry. The U.S. requested their extradition back in 2004. However, the process stalled due to a number of appeals. The trio are reportedly a part of another group of 7 men who were previously extradited to the U.S. on drug-related charges. In the case of an extradition, the Commissioner of Police is reportedly mandated by law to officially hand over any wanted suspects. Commissioner Greenslade was acting on a warrant of surrender, which was reportedly signed and sealed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Fred Mitchell. After some 20 minutes, the accused suspects made their way to the waiting 9-seater Caravan aircraft for boarding, closely escorted by U.S. agents. At exactly 11:50 a.m., the aircraft taxied the runway, and at noon the plane was in the sky, bound for the U.S. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
45-year-old prison officer Irvin Bodie Jr. made his first appearance in court today for arraignment. Bodie and 52-year-old Stapleton Gardens resident Enid Roll pleaded not guilty to possession of dangerous drugs with the intent to supply. They were arrested on Sunday after DEU officers allegedly found 7 ounces of marijuana in their possession. The drugs have an estimated street value of $1,000.
23-year-old Jamal Bain, also known as Strap, was formally charged in the South Street Magistrates Court today with the murder of Rashad Bodie earlier this month. According to reports, Bodie was walking on Fleming Street shortly before 11 p.m. when occupants of a heavily tinted gray Nissan Altima vehicle pulled up and shot him before speeding off. Bodie was rushed to hospital in critical condition, where he later died. Now, Bain was not required to enter a plea to the murder charge. Bail was denied, and he has been remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. He returns to court on May 18th for service of voluntary bill of indictment papers.
Jurors in the Andrus double murder trial will travel to Central Andrus tomorrow to view the crime scene where senior immigration officer Shane Gardner and his girlfriend Tishka Brennan were killed. Cordero Saunders, Zintwarn Duncombe, Andrew Coakley, and James Johnson are accused of breaking into Gardner's home and taking the couple deep into bushes on a farm and fatally shooting them. Gardner's partly decomposed body was found in a makeshift rock grave, while Brennan's body was discovered nearby in a deep hole. Attorney Darnell Dorset is prosecuting the case. Attorneys Terrell Butler, Ian Cargill, Donna Major, and Moses Bain make up the defense. Justice Indra Charles is presiding.
A man wanted by police was not only taken into custody this morning, but was shot following a police chase. The incident, which took place shortly after 8 a.m., reportedly began on Market Street and ended on Peter Street. Police press liaison, Assistant Police Commissioner Stephen Dean, provided us with details shortly after the incident.
We can confirm that the police were on routine patrol on Market Street. That was shortly after 8 a.m. this morning, when they received information of a person armed with a firearm walking in the area. The alerted officers spotted a suspect fitting the description. As a result, the suspect, on seeing the police officers, he fled on foot. The officers fled behind him. After a short pursuit, they were able to catch up with the suspect. A struggle ensued with the suspect and the officers, resulting in the suspect being shot in the leg. And police was able to search the suspect and recovered a handgun with ammunition in his possession. And police can confirm that this suspect is wanted for a number of housebreaking offenses, and so we'll be questioning him in that regard. The suspect was transferred to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Police would not identify the suspect at the time, however, they're sending this message.
Police want to appeal to persons out there who are hell-bent in confrontation with the police. We are asking you to resist from challenging the police. Resist from challenging the police. And we will also want to talk to suspects, please, out there, that we will continue in our aggressive approach to pursue you, to arrest persons who continue hell-bent on, despite the warnings that we give, despite what we talk about, they want to commit crime. So we'll find you, because our officers are out there. We want to commend the officers for their aggressive work. Despite in the line of danger, they were able to pursue the suspect, pursue with their lives in fear, the lives of other citizens in fear. It's country first.
The family of the teen girl killed last week as she sat on a public bus and was hit by a stone is speaking out tonight on her death.
And this as the owner of the bus franchise is hoping that the act of violence is never repeated. Janina Ferguson has this report.
The grief-stricken mother of the 16-year-old government high school student who died after she was struck by a rock that was thrown through the window of her bus on her way to school Friday was inconsolable. She recalled the last time she saw her daughter alive.
The bus came, and her friends who were at the bus stop with her told her not to take that particular bus because this particular bus stays in problems. This is what the mother is saying, and the daughter said that she has to take this bus because it is the first bus that has arrived, and there is a particular teacher at the school that she fears, and she does not want to arrive at school late.
Close to tears, the mother, who was surrounded by friends and family at their residence deep in bushes off Cowpen Road, said at first she did not think the injury would have been that serious, but her worst fears were realized when she saw her daughter in hospital.
She saw that her entire face was bandaged up, and she said she was bleeding through her nose, through her mouth, through her ears.
Col allait blanc parce que toute sang fin a été là.
So she's saying that as she was to the hospital, she grabbed her daughter's feet, and she was holding her feet and praying to God and trying to, ask God to save her daughter's life. But she said that she felt within her that there was no life left in her daughter.
Now, the family was visited by the owner of the bus franchise that the young teen was riding on when she was struck. They came to express their condolences and offer prayers to the family. The young girl's father, who also spoke through an interpreter, said of all of his 7 children, his relationship with his daughter was special.
Love, he doesn't have that relationship with any other, and says he thinks he should die also.
Now, bus franchise owner Levon Miller says that this incident was not an isolated one, and it just brings to light the many challenges bus drivers face within the industry.
On the same day, on a completely different route, another bus driver was attacked in a similar manner, and someone on that vehicle also suffered trauma to the head as well. I mean, luckily nothing as severe as this one, but these are the kinds of things that are happening out there, and for very simple reasons. The bus driver asks somebody to come off of the bus for causing a disturbance. They lay in wait. The bus driver decides to ask for his $1.25. When people decide that they want to short the bus fare, they lay in wait.
Now on Monday, 3 men were charged with Beauchamp's murder. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Senseless is how the Minister of Education, Science and Technology, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, is describing the murders of 2 high school students this past weekend. Minister Fitzgerald acknowledged a breakdown in the family structure and values as the reason why there is an increase in violence.
These are matters that don't just happen on the spur of the moment. They've been brewing for some time, and persons were aware of what was happening. The outcome, of course, could not have been predicted, but the point is that we have to find different ways of settling our differences, separate and apart from violence. Violence cannot be the means of first resort. We continue to preach within our schools that violence is not the answer. First of all, it will not be tolerated on campus. And secondly, that you have to be able to sit and communicate with others with regard to whatever challenges you have.
If you know of a crime, please call Crime Stoppers at 328-8477, toll free 242-300-8477. You can also check them out on www.crimestoppersbahamas.com. Let's stop the crime before it's your time.